Welcome back everyone to another OKest Recap. It's been a little while since we've done a news recap, so I'm going to be covering some updates that have spanned over the last few weeks. We'll start things off first with some quick news. So there's a couple of handhelds that have been announced. One I've talked about previously, the Orange Pi Neo. There isn't much of an update for the Orange Pi Neo, but we did learn that the price is going to be $499 for the 7840U and $599 for the 8840U. And here's a quick overview of the specs. Feel free to pause the video if you'd like to read it a little bit closer. I'll also drop a link down in the video description to their website. They've recently added a Q&A section that has a bunch of information, so if you have questions, it's most likely answered there. One thing that we did confirm is the price, and also that it is going to be coming to Western markets. We don't have an exact release date yet, but I'm going to be watching this, and I'm planning to try to get one for the channel if I can, so that I can do a review for you guys, and also do some testing to see if it's worth it. It's definitely a handheld that's piqued my interest, and it's something that I'm looking forward to testing out, hopefully in the near future. Next, we have another device that's coming out in 2025 apparently, and it's going to be running a new OS called Playtron. It seems that the team working on this device is working, I guess, closely with the team that's working on the new Playtron OS, and I'm going to guess they're going to use this device as kind of like a showcase of what this OS is like and what they can do with it. The details at this time are kind of limited, so we're going to need to wait for more information, but one thing that they do say is that they are going to be targeting a $500 price point. So depending on exactly what they're going to be putting into this device and how the OS really functions, because we really don't know yet, this could end up being a good entry-level device. As things are pretty early, I'll keep watching this and I'll let you guys know if I discover anything more as it comes up. And moving on to some other quick news, on Switch emulation, the Tsui emulator is unfortunately dead. I'm sure many of you already heard that the Yuzu emulator team has shut down. They're no longer working on the project, and their website, their Discord, everything has been closed. And immediately after that happened, there was a number of other emulators that popped up. Tsui was one of them. So unfortunately, that's another one gone. Hopefully this isn't a trend where we see more emulators dropping, but I do seem to think that that is going to be the case. But some good news for emulation is that Apple is going to be allowing emulators on their App Store, which is a change from what they've done in the past. And I believe the first emulator has come out now, which is called iGBA. But unfortunately, this seems to be a clone of GBA for iOS. So I'm not sure if the code was stolen or what the story is behind that. And one day after I recorded that, iGBA has been taken down due to copyright, and now we have the Delta emulator, which is from the original developer. So if you have an iPhone, maybe check this one out and let me know what you think of it in the comments. I haven't had a chance to test it out yet. I don't have an iPhone for my personal phone anymore, but maybe I could borrow my wife's and give it a test. And on to the last bit of quick news, we have new AMD drivers for the 7840U. This is 24.3.1, which brings support for Dragon's Dogma 2, Horizon Forbidden West, as well as Outpost Infinity Siege. Alongside that, we have expanded Hyper-Tune support for Dragon's Dogma 2, Diablo 4, Ghost Runner 2, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. There was also a number of fixed issues. I'm not going to go over the list today, but it's on the screen here. Feel free to pause the video if you want to read it a little bit further. And also some known issues. Once again, I'll leave it on the screen here. Feel free to pause the video to give it a closer read. And that's all I've really got for quick news, so let's move over to our Legion Go updates. There's a few things to cover for the Legion Go. The first one is a Legion Space update that's come recently that brought a number of significant changes. Included in the changes was some new controller firmware, and with that we got button mapping support for both FPS and gamepad mode. So this can be done with pretty much any button combination, either mouse buttons, keyboard buttons, or controller buttons, which is great to see. Another setting that's been added that's been requested for quite some time is a charge limit for the battery, so it's set to 80% plus or minus 5%, which seems to be the sweet spot when it comes to promoting battery health. They've added Alt Escape to the quick settings menu, and they've also added a new link in the help section that takes you directly to the Legion Go community forum. Driver updates have been optimized so you can see the currently installed versions. There has also been an optimized FPS limit control, so now you can customize it with a single sliding scale between a value of 30 to 144. There's also a notification that'll pop up now if you're using FPS limiter and also turn on RSR that the FPS limiter will be turned off. There was also optimizations when it comes to unplugging and plugging in your controller, so that should be a little more consistent. And they fixed an issue with the Legion L and R key being invalidated under admin accounts in Windows. Some future plan changes to Legion Space is the ability to map the Xbox key. Some other priorities in the future are going to be a UI overhaul, as well as some structural adjustments, as well as better gyro implementation. And they also mentioned that there's going to be a VGA driver coming sometime in the near future. And that's pretty much the gist of the Legion Space update. So the other bit of news that I have to share with you for the Legion Go actually comes from the Legion Go Discord community. So the two members are Raul and Omega. The first one, Raul, he had designed, I guess the first concept of this, had kind of shown a proof of concept, got it working, got it to charge a controller. And then Omega took this and he kind of built on it as well. He 3D printed and designed a little controller holder that's like a circular shape that can actually fit in your case. You know where that, I'm not sure what you call it, like the little ring that you stick your controller in when you enter FPS mode, it'll actually fit in that little slot. I might be able to actually test this out. Omega might be making some, so I am going to try it out. I'm not sure if the plan is that he's going to be making these to sell or what he's going to be doing with it. But of course, I'm going to keep you guys up to date on that. And if you want to check out his Reddit post where he first showed some of the information, or if you want to chat with him, you can check that out. I'll leave that in the video description below. And yeah, it's pretty cool to see that the community is coming up with some consistently creative things. We've had different backplates that can fit a 2280 size SSD. We've worked on some better ventilation, and of course now we have a couple controller connectors. And not just dummy ones, but ones that can actually charge your controllers. So let me know in the comments if you want to learn more about this, or if you have any thoughts about it and I can pass them on to Omega, or if you see him in my comment section, feel free to chat with him there or find him on Reddit. And one other piece of news for the Legion Go is, speaking of controllers, I actually did some modification to my controller. I added some tighter joystick modules, so if you've ever thought that your joysticks felt a little bit loose, then check out this video and see if it's a mod that you want to try out. It's not exactly beginner friendly, but if you have any experience taking apart devices, it's not too bad. So check out that video if you have any interest. I will drop that down below as well. And that's about all that I have for the Legion Go. I'm not going to really go into the Legion Go 2 content because there's really nothing there. They just basically confirm that there's going to be one, and they say that it'll have more features. So not really a lot of information to talk about at this time. Okay, so that'll do it for the Legion Go. Let's head over to the ROG Ally. For the ROG Ally, I have a couple things to cover. The first one is a battery mod for your ROG Ally, and no, this isn't the one that I covered previously with the folded battery. This is actually a different mod. So this mod can be found on iFixit's website. It's a mod that I would hope to do myself, but right now the battery can't ship to Canada, so I'm going to see if I can work something out for that. And much like the other battery mod, this one's going to require a new back shell. So they have a template that's uploaded onto their website where you can basically download the template and you can get it 3D printed somewhere. The battery itself isn't bad. I think it's like $50 US, so it's definitely a cheaper mod to do. So if I can get a hold of one of these, I'll show you guys how to do it. It seems like it's pretty straightforward. There is some modification that you have to do to the cable, which might be a little bit difficult for some, but for others it seems like it'll be a fairly straightforward mod. Either way, it's pretty cool to see. It's nice seeing a mod made by, I guess, a larger website that has been inspired by the community, because, you know, the community, Reddit and Discord, had originally done this mod and kind of showed a proof of concept. So yeah, it's neat to see all these mods that are coming to handhelds. And as usual, I will leave that link in the description. Check it out and let's talk about it in the comments. Is this something that you want to do or you think is neat, or is this something that you think is a waste of time? And in case you missed it, I did a video comparing the ROG Ally versus the MSI Claw, where I went over performance, how the devices feel, look, and a few other things. So check that one out if you missed it and are interested. Of course, I'll leave the link in the description below as usual. Next, I've got a couple of products to show you for the Ally. So the first one is a rear shell from Handheld DIY, and this one is a transparent purple. Previously, I've shown a transparent white version, but now they sent the purple one, which I really like. It has this little kickstand, and you can also attach basically like Apple Watch bands to it, so you can connect a battery pack. And on the inside of the shell, there's a thermal pad and a metal plate that helps dissipate some of the heat. I've noticed it works fairly well when I've tested it. If you're looking to pick one of these up, I'll leave a link down below in the video description. And the last thing to cover for the ROG Ally is actually this cool case that I received from Tomtoc. So they sent it out so that I could show you guys. I've been a big fan of Tomtoc cases for years. I've used them on my Switch, Steam Deck, and a few other devices. And let's take a look at the inside. So once we open it up, you can see that it's perfectly fit for your ROG Ally. It's got a nice little piece of foam at the top there to make sure it doesn't move. It's got a soft piece of material. And there's also this flap that covers the screen. And because it's nice and tight, you're not really going to get any movement. And you also get this cool little pocket here if you had like SD cards or whatnot. So if you're looking for a minimalistic case that looks pretty nice for your ROG Ally, check out the video description. I'll leave a link and a coupon code. And that's all the updates that I have for the ROG Ally, so let's head over to the MSI Claw. For the MSI Claw, I have a few things to cover today. The first one is some new graphics drivers, which is version 5382, which seems to bring a fix for 3D Mark Speedway, but aside from that, they seem to basically just note some known issues. There's some issues noted for Diablo 4, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, and then a few AI tools as well as some benchmark tools. So unfortunately, this is not the driver that we were looking for. It doesn't seem to bring the fixes that we wanted. For me, it's games like Cyberpunk that stutter a lot, and a few other games that seem to be underperforming. The previous driver update did bring some meaningful changes for God of War and a few other games where we saw a pretty substantial bump in performance. So perhaps we're going to have to wait till the next set of drivers to see some of the issues corrected further. Aside from the graphics drivers, we did get one other update for the BIOS. This is BIOS version 106, and if we take a look at the release notes, there's not really a lot of information. Basically, there's a new EC version. So unfortunately, we don't have the specific details of what changed. I would have to do a little bit more digging to see if I could find what the changes were to the EC version, but I wasn't able to find it when I was looking. If you are looking to update your BIOS to the latest version, it seems that some people have been having quite a bit of trouble with this. You need to do this through a USB-C dock as well as a thumb drive. So I've seen just a number of people having issues where it just was not, working when they would try to install it. So I'm not really sure if it's just user error or what's going on, but it was definitely something that I saw in a number of different places where people were having this issue. Aside from that, there's not really a lot of news for the Claw, so if you're curious to know what my thoughts are, what my first impression was, I did make a review video, so check that one out. I'll leave a link down in the video description below. As well, if you're curious on how it performs versus the ROG Ally and a bit more of a comparison, how they compare physically and a few other aspects, I did also do a video for that, so check that one out also if you're interested. But that's all that I've got for the MSI Claw, so let's head over to the Steam Deck. For the Steam Deck, there's not a lot to go over, but I do have a couple things. The first one is an update to the beta client on April 10th. This just had a couple of fixes. It fixed the touchscreen switching to mouse cursor mode when the virtual keyboard is opened. As well, it no longer lists incompatible options under applications compatibility settings. And that's pretty much it for the beta client updates. It's been a little bit slower lately, but I do have one accessory that I'm going to show you today, so let's take a look at that. The accessory this week is a case from Tomtoc that's actually kind of neat. It's a very form-fitted case that is basically the exact shape of a Steam Deck, and it's got this little flap that you can close here at the bottom. And when we take a look on the inside, you can see that it's a perfect fit here. There's no room for anything to move around. The buttons line up perfectly with the shell. And it's about as minimalistic as you can get. So if this is something that you're interested in, check out the video description. I'll leave a link down below, as well as any coupon codes that they provide. And thanks once again to Tomtoc for letting me test this out for you guys. And that's all that I've got for the Steam Deck this week, so let's head over to our AOKZOE and OneXplayer updates. For AOKZOE and OneXplayer, there's a couple updates to cover today. The first one is an announcement of a new A2 version called the A2 Ultra. The new A2 is going to have the Intel 155H, and I would imagine it'd be coming sometime sooner than later. And unfortunately, the Intel 155H isn't really in a good spot right now. The drivers are still young, and I'm not sure how much improvement we're going to see with the driver updates. But if you're somebody that likes Intel, then maybe check this one out and keep an eye on it. I'll keep you guys up to date as I learn more about it. And speaking more of Intel devices, the OneXplayer X1 has already been shipped out. The campaign has ended, and now if you would like to purchase, you'll need to go to the OneXplayer store and buy directly. I also purchased the X1. I have the 155H variant, and it seems to outperform the MSI Claw by a little bit, like maybe 5 FPS. Not really sure why that is. It could just be that it's 32 gigabytes of RAM. It could be maybe just the different software that's running in the background, or maybe it's just the temperatures. I'm not really sure. Anyway, if you're interested in that one, check out OneXplayer's website. That's where you're going to be purchasing it now. Moving over to the AMD side, there's a new device refresh from OneXplayer for the OneXplayer 2 Pro. So they have an 8840U version that's out now that you can purchase on the OneXplayer store. I'm not sure if it's in stock or out of stock. I was recently looking to purchase one, but they were out of stock when I checked, so maybe check the website, see if it's in stock yet. And that's pretty much all the updates I have for AOKZOE and OneXplayer, so let's head over to AYANEO. This week's product of the week is the Jsaux RGB docking station. So as the name suggests, we have a lot of RGB, it goes all the way around. At the back here, we have our HDMI, our 2 USB-A and 2 USB-C ports. And on the front, if you would like to put your device in here, you just press the button, pull this out, and you can stand your device in it. So it'll fit most devices, like here I have my MSI Claw and it fits perfectly. And to connect your device to the dock, there's these 2 USB-C cables that come in the Connect More kit. Here you can connect them for 100 watt power delivery as well as 5 gigabits of data transfer. Also included in the Connect More kit is the USB-A to USB-C adapters. There's a few of them that are included, so if you want to convert the USB-A ports to USB-C, all you need to do is connect these into the USB-A ports, and then you'll have an additional 2 USB-C ports, both capable of 5 gigabits per second. So if you're in the market for a dock that could do 4K 120Hz, then definitely check this one out. Check the video description for a link. For AYANEO, there's a couple things to cover. The first one is that if you're planning to buy a AYANEO Flip, the campaign has come to an end, but you can still purchase through in-demand, which basically means that you can still purchase through Indiegogo, however, you're not going to get the early bird prices. So if you missed out on this device, but were still interested, I'll leave a link in the description, check it out if you'd like to. The second thing to cover for AYANEO is the AYANEO Pocket S. There's a new event that's going to be coming on April 26th. I'm anticipating we should learn a little bit more about the device, possibly its release date, and maybe when the campaign will be starting. So hopefully after the 26th, we'll have the full information on the device, and I will let you guys know next time I give an update. And that's all that I'm really going to cover for AYANEO this week, so let's head over to GPD. For GPD, there's just a few things to cover. They have a few 8840U devices that have now ended their campaign, such as the GPD Win Mini with the VRR display. So the campaign is over, but you can still purchase through in-demand. It just means that you're not going to get the same discounts that you did during the campaign, but the prices will be just a little bit more. Aside from the Win Mini, we also have the GPD Win 4, where they released a 8840U variant, as well as the GPD Win Max 2. I've personally been watching the Win Mini, as well as the GPD Win Max 2. I'm not sure if I'm going to get one, but maybe I'll pick one up and do some testing on the channel. I don't have any other updates for GPD, so that's going to do it for GPD as well as this news recap. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching.